And that is the prevailing thought process in the world today, is that you determine your own destiny. And I don't think that that's particularly a helpful thing. I come from a belief system that tells me that my identity and my existence is a gift.
Welcome to another episode of Is This for Kids? I am Jonathan Bearded Blevins.
I am Katie, MrsRuvi.
MrsRuvi!
That's the name. Don't wear it out.
The jersey you are wearing is of a team that was not in the NHL playoffs this year.
I know that because I know a lot of things about hockey and I'm a true fan.
Oh, who's your favorite player on the team?
His name's Dave.
That's incredible. There is like a 10% chance there's a guy named Dave on that team.
I know, that's why I went with it.
But it's not
Pastrnak
anything. Because he is on the Boston Bruins.
Yeah. I actually don't know anything about hockey, but since the movie we're talking about has a heavy hockey influence, and my Twitch community, we had this rule that whatever jersey they mail me, I will be a lifelong fan of that team. I'm now a New Jersey Devils fan.
Okay, perfect. Someone please from the ITFK community send her a Detroit Pistons jersey. If you don't do it in the next 2 months, I'll have to do it.
Yeah, I don't have an NBA jersey yet, so.
Yeah. So
but
what about college basketball?
Arizona.
Darn it. Oh yeah, because
I went there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. We're gonna talk about Inside Out 2, but before we do, Disney-Pixar.
So many collaborations.
Rank your top 3 Disney-Pixar movies.
Top 3.
Yes.
Okay, so number 3 would be Cars the original.
Okay.
Love Cars the original. Great soundtrack. Number 2 would be Coco. Excellent soundtrack.
That's Pixar?
Yes. Excellent soundtrack. Lots of fun. My kids have such difficulty with it. Like he says, "You make me un poco loco, un poquitito loco," and they're like, "What is he saying?" I'm like, a little bit crazy. It's
okay,
fun.
so that's good. That's a
cute.
good thing. Yep.
Yep. And then my number 1 favorite, for very personal reasons, is Finding Nemo, because it has different representation. He has a little fin.
Nemo does?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize.
That's why his dad is overprotective, is because he was born with a little fin.
Someone ruined that movie for me. I'm not going to say why, because it is not for kids.
Oh dear. Is it to do with the breeding habits
yes,
of clownfish?
Yes, it was so weird. What happened in that movie would not have actually happened.
No, never.
Which is weird.
Gross.
Okay, your top 3, while quaint and adorable, is wildly inaccurate. So, okay. Number 3 is Up.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you have to watch it. The first 10 minutes is going to make you weep. Number 2, I don't know how you left this off your list. Toy Story? Come on.
I mean, it's good. It was nostalgic from my childhood, but most of the Pixar movies that I like now are ones that are meaningful to my kids.
Okay, well, number 1, I'm like surprised you didn't actually say this because you love to cook. But Ratatouille is so good. It might be my favorite Disney movie of all time.
We have a mutual friend, Ethan, who looks a lot like the main character.
He
that's not the
does.
best.
Make a clip, put his face in it.
Seriously.
It would be funny. Okay, so Inside Out 2. Notice that Inside Out 1 did not make your list here.
Oh, I don't dislike it. I
Okay.
just really like the other 3.
What was that guy's name? Bing Bong?
Bing Bong. I actually found Bing Bong deeply annoying, and everybody loved him.
He was super annoying.
Yeah, I really hated that
But it was
guy.
still like the idea of him leaving was wildly sad.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, objectively, it was sad. Inside Out 2, nowhere near as sad. Spoiler alert, I don't think. Had some moments. Just came out. What are your thoughts? Why don't you, before your thoughts, explain the plot of Inside Out 2?
Yeah, so Inside Out 2, we bring back Riley from the original Inside Out, and she's now going into high school. She's going to spend the weekend at hockey camp, getting ready for high school level hockey. And right before the camp starts, her 2 best friends announce to her that they are going to be going to a different high school than she is. So now she's in this hockey camp trying to like impress the future coach while also trying to decide how much she should invest in her old friendships versus the new friendships she's going to have to make when she goes into high school, and all of the pressures that come from trying to make a school team. And all of these puberty type emotions show up. You've got your original emotions, your joy, your sadness, your disgust, fear and anger, right? And they are joined by anxiety, envy, ennui, my favorite character, absolutely great, and embarrassment, who all show up as very teenage emotions. So they're all battling it out for control of Riley's sense of self.
Yeah. Okay. Great summary. Well done. Way to not give any spoilers.
Yes.
You're very good at that. What were your general thoughts Inside Out 2?
So I took all my kids
Okay.
and they all loved it. They all thought it was so much fun. My husband loved it. Everybody had a great time. I posted a thing on Instagram right afterwards, but my oldest daughter wasn't there because she had to go to work. But yeah, I thought it was very, very good. One of the things that we had a whole conversation in the car afterwards about was like, what did you take away from it? And I thought it was a really good examination of not letting your emotions take over. Let one emotion become the biggest emotion. Like share them around, get a little bit of things in there. But this sense of self-concept hadn't been brought up before in the earlier things, that all of her previous memories form her beliefs, which tells her like, just who she is. And I thought it was very interesting how her emotions got to dictate her sense of self. And I thought, at first I was kind of offended, like, oh my gosh, your emotions should never be controlling you. But it so often does. It's so true that I was like, I'm not even mad about it. I just need to do a better job of it. So I thought it was a great story. There's nothing really, concerning in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So full disclosure, when I first saw the preview for this, I thought to myself, this was a while ago, like maybe even 6 months, 9 months ago. It was a long time ago.
Almost a year.
And it showed like something about puberty, and then anxiety shows up. And I was like, Disney is going to Disney this movie. And it is just going to be a giant statement of whatever. I don't know what the statement was going to be, but it wasn't going to be one that I think that Disney should be talking about.
Yeah.
That's just I just went there. I don't know why, but I did. And I was like, come on, it has so much potential.
Yeah.
And then I went to go see it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so good. They did nothing that they shouldn't do. It was just a really good movie about emotions and how we can handle them. It was just a really wholesome, good sequel, I thought.
Yeah.
My kids did not come with me, unfortunately. I want them to. And I think I'm just going to start taking them to movies.
Maybe they just don't know how much fun it is. Did you tell them that there's
they
popcorn?
love it. Yeah, they love that part of it. But they have it in their mind that they're only going to like movies that they like the previews of. And so I'll show them the previews of the movie, and then they'll just be like, yawn, snore, looks boring. And I'm like, no. So we saw Garfield and Inside Out 2 and Leo, all three movies that I've watched in the last few weeks, and they saw none of them. They were interested in none. And they would have liked all three. So spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But I just thought they did an awesome job. I almost wish the movie was longer so that you could develop some of the characters a little bit more.
Oh, no, I thought it was perfect length.
It was like, 90
Hour and
minutes
a half.
only. Yeah. So it was quick, I thought, but you liked it. Okay, great. Having good conversation with your kid afterwards, important.
Always.
I actually did not like the part that you just said you do like.
The sense of self thing?
Yeah, I thought the sense of self thing was awesome as a part of the movie, but I didn't like how it was almost explicitly based on her emotions and her memories. Instead of like a choice, you can choose. You can say, "I'm a good person, and I'm going to choose to be a good person. I'm going to choose kindness. I'm going to choose these things, even if you have things that happen to you that make it hard for that to become a thing." So I think that matters. Like your memories and your emotions matter, but like you kind of build your core belief system. I think more than letting your emotions dictate them. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it's it is weird that like the emotions pick which memories they think need to become the most important things. I think we do build our sense of self out of the things that we've experienced in life and our memories, or the things that we have been taught through various things. So I don't think that that's wrong. It's that having it controlled by the emotions is a bigger issue. What I thought maybe would have been a good counter to that. Did you notice at the very beginning when they're showing Riley's personality islands, her family island is this big, having been completely eclipsed by her by her friend's island, right?
Yep.
And I think that that's a huge problem with kids these days. I read a book once called The Kids Are Not Okay. I can't remember the complete title. I'll figure it out. But anyway, where they were talking about how one of the big struggles that kids have these days is that a lot of their sense of identity comes from their friends and from their peer groups rather than from their families. And families are not doing as good of a job as they used to of instilling belief systems, of instilling who that person is. And it's creating discomfort in them. Sort of like what we talked about in Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, where her parents were hesitant to give her a religion. And so she was constantly nervous about what her religion should be. And I when I saw that stinking family island being so small, I was like, Riley's parents need to get in here and do some parenting. Their kid is struggling and thinks everything comes from friendships, but these are friendships so shallow that she didn't even know her kids her best friends lived in a different district.
Right.
Like, how did you not know that until the day before camp? Like, you need to know your friends just a little bit better. And your family needs to be a bigger part of your life. So that was huge to me.
Yeah, I agree. Spoiler alert, they never actually addressed the island again.
Never.
Right?
Like her parents drop her off at camp and leave her, which is so like you never see them again.
Yeah.
Did you say
did you say for the credits?
I didn't say after the credits, no.
Did you say for the credits though? Because in the first like 10 minutes of the credits, there's like 4 or 5 more little scenes that are her parents.
With her
I
parents at the
I
end.
did not. I left after because it was storming like crazy.
But it was just like little, how did the camp go? Like little tiny vignettes. It was not that big of a deal.
I didn't like the ending.
Oh, really?
I just wanted more. Like you're saying, I wanted more from the parents. I wanted that island to be explained. Sorry for some of the spoilers there, but I'm with you 100%. Wish they would have addressed that more. The friends thing was weird, but also like it's hard to imagine a kid like her being such a good person, which she is throughout, and she's of course learning who she is, having a family island that small. Like, you know what I mean? Where does she get all these? She's pretty darn close to perfect before puberty. But
her parents aren't contributing at all.
Yeah, you would assume it's because of her parents and like the island's small. So that was weird.
Yeah, I do think that that's like a common belief people have nowadays is that your sense of self comes completely from within yourself, that you are self-generating. And that's a very, Jean-Paul Sartre type belief.
Yeah.
Bug-eyed little weirdo. Ruined everything.
You like the Henri voice.
Well, he's a Frenchman.
I know, it's funny.
I'm not a fan of Jean-Paul Sartre, but he's a person who's like your essence precedes your existence, which means like you need to determine who you are before you are anything. And that's not, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's done so much damage in our society, telling kids that you need to completely make up whole cloth from nothing who you are with no contribution from anyone at all. So if there is a belief system that's ingrained in and out, or In and Out, I keep calling it that, Inside Out.
Oh, it's because you like In and Out burgers.
I really like the burgers. The movie In and Out is actually not as similar to this at all, from the 90s.
Did not know there was a movie called In and Out.
Oh yeah, I think it's Kevin Kline deciding whether or not
Patsy
he's gay.
Cline.
Yes. Anywho, and that is the prevailing thought process in the world today, is that you determine your own destiny. And I don't think that that's particularly a helpful thing. I come from a belief system that tells me that my identity and my existence is a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
There you
go. Before we get into whether or not it's for kids, I have to share this. I think that as parents, one thing we need to do is we need to celebrate the victories that we get, whether they're all the time or infrequent.
Yeah.
So we're driving home from church yesterday, and my middle son Zachary, who just turned 8, by the way, which is
guy.
Crazy.
Happy birthday, Zachary.
It was just his birthday, right? So we're talking about like hockey cards and football cards and Pokemon cards and all these different things that like he got for his birthday or that he wants or that his brother now wants because he got them, right? So that's kind of like the theme of the last 3 days of conversation.
Yeah.
We're driving home from church and he goes, "Mama, didn't I get $400 for my first communion?" And Jody like looked at me and was like, yeah, like thinking he's going to ask to go buy cards or more hockey cards or more birthday presents or whatever. And we're like, yeah. And he goes, I'd like to give away some of that money to the homeless man down the road. And we looked at each other like,
yes.
What? That's a good core belief.
That is.
And I'm like, what the heck? This little kid, are you kidding? And so we're like playing along, not playing along, we're going to let him do it. But we're like, how much? What are you thinking? How much?
Yeah.
And he was like, 50.
Aww.
And I was like, dude, let's go, big spender.
Yes.
So very cool. We celebrated the moment.
In a gift card to a location that doesn't,
100%.
have problems. There
100%.
you go.
That's a whole other podcast episode we're going to
whole
talk
other
about because I
podcast.
have hot takes on that. Okay, Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2.
For kids, what are your thoughts in general?
It is
for parents?
appropriate for all children, in my estimation. If your kid can sit through a movie, and my 3-year-old sat through this, my 16-year-old sat through it until she had to leave for work. So, and she liked it. Both, all the ranges, all the genders, everybody was into it.
I am going to agree with you with one caveat, that I just think that it's really, really, really good and kind of critical to see if you're like 10 to 13. Like my 4-year-old would have probably thought it was fine and cute, but she wouldn't understand most of it.
Yeah.
but she would have thought it was funny. So there's nothing wrong with it. There's no language. There's nothing.
No drinking, no sex, no violence.
Yeah, it's pretty darn perfect.
In fact, the fighting character was hilarious and not violent at all.
Yeah, that little part was actually really funny, that whole scene.
Cute.
And so, but I just think, like, for sure, 9, 10, 11, 12 should watch it. Not just like you can, but I think you can have some really good conversations with your kids about it.
Absolutely. I agree with all that. Hey, if everybody liked this, where could they find more this kind of content?
They could go to isthisforkids.com or go find us on Instagram or YouTube.
ITFK podcast on Instagram.
Look at you.
I know. And they should definitely subscribe to this
100%.
podcast.
And they can write
like
comments.
This video.
And
go back. I comment on like all of your comments unless they're mean. And then one of them was mean and I said, ow, my soul. And the guy wrote back and he was like, you know what? You're right. There's some content out there for everybody and I apologize. I'm going to delete my comment. I was like, oh, thank you.
Oh,
what a nice guy.
What I do is I don't read the comments. I'm just kidding. I try to read and engage as well.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, there's just so much content out there for us to navigate as parents.
I'm Jonathan Beard of Blevins.
I'm Katie, MrsRuvi. Let us help you decide.
Is this for kids?